Hello, I am Caroline and I am a speech and language assistant specialising in early years. I am going to speak to you today about how you can encourage and motivate your children to be super listeners. So this topic is based on listening and attention skills in our young children. So I wanted to make a point of saying that we would not make an expectation but for a child between the age of 3 and 5 to concentrate for more than 10 minutes on an activity that they have not chosen. Obviously, your child might play for hours with their favourite activity, but if you were taking your child away from what they were doing, same at school, and they were about to carry out a task, 10 minutes is kind of tops. So I think it's really important that you know that, because we kind of worry that our children can't concentrate, where the recommendation is no more than 10 minutes. So they go through various stages with their listening skills, and the first stage is fleeting, and you'll all be kind of familiar with a child that has fleeting attention. They see something new, they go running towards it and completely forget about what they were doing or what you'd asked them to do. They're just so distracted by something new and exciting. And the next stage that they go through is rigid attention, and I'm sure that you can all relate to this one too. So that would be when they are in the middle of playing with their favourite things, playing with their friends, and you are calling them, telling them it's time to go, telling them it's tea time, and they literally just look like they cannot hear you. And that's because they're rigidly engaged in their play. So the next stage they go through is focusing. So they need an adult to help shift their focus as to what we want them to attend to. So kind of the common way to get their attention might be to start by saying their name. If they're not listening, a tap on the shoulder, telling them to look at you, look at my eyes, look at my face when I'm speaking to you, and that will help them to attend to what you want them to do. So I've got a few top tips to help keep your children focused and help improve their listening skills. So always consider the background noises and distractions. I know some households kind of just have the telly on in the background, the radio on in the background, and this will be really distracting if you're trying to get your child to focus on something specific. So I would recommend that you do some daily quiet time in a room, perhaps away from their toys, so that's not a distraction either. If you've got a dining room or a table in the kitchen, and then to carry out the activity there, whatever it might be, Play-Doh, reading a story, you want it to be nice and calm and quiet, and the least distractions, the better. So I really love a few of these activities that I'm going to tell you about to help promote listening skills. So games, if you're outside, such as can you run and touch a lamppost? If you're at a park, can you run and slide down the slide? You can extend that then to 2-part instructions by saying, I want you to touch the yellow fence and then the red fence, and they're having to really tune in and listen so they get the instructions right. You can also adapt the I Spy game that we all know very well by saying, I spy something that grows and has leaves and petals, and then hopefully they will be able to pick up on those cues, and you could again incorporate the go and run and touch something that grows, that has leaves and petals. Another great one is to hide a teddy or a toy. So a bit like hide and seek, child counts to 10 while you hide something, and then you can sing a song. And when the child is far away from the object, you do it in a really quiet voice. And when it's a bit like the hot and cold game that we used to play when we were younger. When you get closer to the object, you sing loudly. So they're tuning into, I need to be listening for the loud singing to know that I'm close to it. Some other games that are really simple with just objects you've got at home would be to hide behind some sort of screen, a chair, a cushion, and have some musical instruments there. So you can tell a little bit of a story, like it was nighttime, and all of a sudden there was a noise, and you can shake the maraca or bang the drum, click the castanets, and see if the child can listen to the sound. You might need to do this with them a couple of times before they get the hang of it, because they'll be wanting to look naturally, and they'll be wanting to see what the object is, but we really want them to tune into the listening. If you're out for a walk in nature, you can stop and have a listening moment. What can they hear in the environment? Cars, birds, the swishing of trees, this sort of thing is really nice. They might hear the aeroplanes, a motorbike, so they can close their eyes and really engage those listening skills during that activity. Another really great one for listening is to ask your child some open-ended questions. So I have a really pretty star box that I got one Christmas with some shortbread in it, and I've just kind of written some questions that would engage your child's thinking skills, but they really need to listen to them. So these are kind of based on a child around 3 or 4. So would it be good or bad if there were no girls? So the children have to really think and give you an answer and justify it. Would it be good or bad if boys were wearing pink? So you can have 2 sides of the argument. You can then say to them, well, I think, and they'll be listening and engaged. Make sure that you're kind of sitting at a table opposite them. Would it be good or bad if we had lollipop trees? Obviously, their answer is going to be, it's going to be good because I can eat as many lollipops as I like, but you can kind of give them both sides as to why it might not be so good for our teeth, etc. And so, and my final tip is, if your child likes to have some time watching telly, try and watch real programs that can extend their learning. So some of my favourites are Topsy and Tim. They're teaching them all sorts of experiences like having chicken pox, going to the dentist, having head lice. These are all kind of topics that they can relate to as life goes on. And then you can extend that learning by doing a little bit more research, reading a story about going to the dentist and saying, do you remember when Topsy and Tim went? You can also watch things like Come Outside, which is lovely, with Auntie Mabel and her aeroplane, and she kind of goes exploring, and you can learn about caterpillars to butterflies, frog spawn to frog, and then you can extend this again by going to the library and finding some books about that, or even having your own kind of mini beast kit at home where you look after caterpillars and watch them turn into butterflies. And yeah, so with watching the telly, I would recommend that you sit with your child. It's not just something they're left to do, because they will zone out and not necessarily be taking it in, because you can comment on what they're watching, ask them questions, and you can reflect on what you've watched afterwards as well. So this makes it a learning experience rather than just kind of an aid where you sit and, I know it's important that you sit and have a cup of tea or do your washing up, but yeah, try once a day if your child is watching the telly to actually sit and watch it with them and comment. And you might need to push pause to get your child to listen to you. But yeah, just really tuning them into your voice. So I think that was all that I wanted to tell you about today. I hope that you have enjoyed listening to my top tips, and I will speak to you again soon.